how's it going? Making this video to kind of show the different battery options that are available when it comes to replacing your battery for Cozmo or Vector. A lot of the times online you'll hear the best one to get is the 50, 30, 40, the 600 mAh battery, but not all batteries are the same, and I'm going to be showing you why certain batteries are better than others. So here we have a typical 50, 30, 40, 600 mAh. Just measuring the width. So it's close to 30. Length, roughly around 40, give or take the protection circuit that's at the top. And then thickness, which is usually what that 50 represents, is a maximum of 5 millimeters. This one's reading 4.69. The problem with when you try and use this battery with Cozmo is it's a very tight fit. So this is just a board that I have. It will fit in there. You just have to squeeze it in. And as you can see, like that's a very tight fit. So it will work. You'll just have to pinch it in. So in most cases, it'll work fine. There's enough space clearance there. And you would have the protection rubber under there to protect the circuitry from the battery. But this is the typical one that's recommended, the 50, 30, 40, 600 mAh, to give you at least close to an hour and a half playtime with Cozmo. But there is another option, and this is the first one I've been using. It's a 610 mAh 45, 34, 38, which fits as close to the original, and there's a lot of wiggle room for it to move around. And so this was one I was using before, but my supplier ran out and started sending me another one. Notice how they both say 45, 34, 38. This one actually was not 45, 34, 38. It was more 45, 32, 38. Now with Cozmo, to be able to put a battery in and close it well, you have to have close to 30 millimeters in width. This one is 32, so it just barely goes over. When I got my replacement, this is actually 34. But what happened was when I put that in, it was way too wide and I could not close Cozmo at all. So I got a buttload of these batteries that I can't use because they're just way too wide. So I looked out for another option and I found this 60, 30, 35. I'm going to be testing it out to see how much battery life it gets. I'm hoping it's the same. I think it'll work, but it fits as close to the original in there. There's a lot of room. It's thicker. So let's look at the thickness. It's 5.7 millimeters, give or take. It fits, and there's enough clearance at the bottom to put that protective rubber to keep the battery heating from touching the components. So I'm going to be testing this one out, the 60, 30, 35, 600 mAh, to see whether or not I can get close to an hour and a half battery time with Cozmo. Now, the reason why the 50, 30, 40, 600 mAh is so popular is because in Vector, if you use this battery, you get at least close to 45, at minimum 45 minutes runtime in Vector. I think the typical battery in Vector will give you like 30 minutes. This one will give you close to at least 45 minutes or more, depending on your battery brand and maker. But this one's so popular because, so this is a dead Vector board. I have the battery terminals taken out. But Vector, just like Cozmo, has a very tight, specific size that a battery will fit in. So this fits perfectly in a Vector. The terminals are over here, the plus, negative. So there's enough clearance in there to put the 50, 30, 40 in with enough wiggle room and high clearance to be able to put this 50, 30, 40 in here. But if you try and put this in a Cozmo, like I showed before, it's just a very tight fit. It will work, but you'll be squeezing down on this battery. I don't know what that does to the battery, but it works. I've tested this out on a couple Cozmos and they all run fine. But not having that squeeze on that battery, I don't know how good that is for the long term. So Which battery would I recommend for Cozmo? Definitely one that has a width that's no more than 30, 32 at the max if you will find it. Usually I don't think you'll find batteries that have 32 widths. Closest one I found is this 60 30 35. Um, I would recommend this one over the 50 30 40 just because of how tight that is. And that would be the battery that I'll recommend. You get the 60 30 35, or if you can find a 45 32 38 610 mAh battery, then I would recommend either this one or this one over the 50 30 40.